Welcome to another Eternal video. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be covering the top 4 commons in every faction. Keep in mind, this is just going off of my experiences with the cards, all anecdotal evidence, so use my experiences with the cards plus your own to inform your picks, and that way you're just going to be that more informed above everybody else. Following that, let me know down below what you guys think I might have missed. As always, if you're enjoying the content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. So for 4th place for Fire, we actually have a two-way tie between Caravan Mage and Youngblood Glider. Now the reason for this is there are scenarios where both of these cards are super powerful, but in this draft format, you just get way too many 3s, so it's not important to prioritize these 3 drops since you'll always have enough. Something to keep in mind is the advantage spells you get from Hunt will count as a spell to give this guy his buff. Number 3, we have Mantis Claw. Now, you guys know relic weapons are essentially removal, but since this has versatile, it can also act as a weapon. So you throw this on something with flying and just go to town. So it's versatile enough and is still removal that this makes it to the 3rd spot for fight. Number 2 is a 2-drop Twilight Lantern. Now, if you guys saw my last draft, you would know this 2-drop's insane. Amazing in multiples. And like I said, it's really hard to find enough good 2-drops, and this is one of the best ones, so definitely make sure you prioritize Twilight Lantern. And for number 1, it shouldn't be any surprise, Ignite, just super efficient. It just lets you snowball in your games. You're able to double spell and create tempo against your opponent to put you ahead. Just keep in mind the double fire does make it so you want to be heavier fire. For time, I want to say an honorable mention to Hardy Snail. This looks like such a dirtily unit, but the 5 health is just the sweet spot for this format. A lot of units only have 4 power, so it's really hard to deal with. And once again, you put a relic weapon on this with versatile, and this thing can just go to town. So something to keep in mind if you're struggling for units. However, number 4 is going to be my boy Cautious Mantis. Just really good stats and value for 5. Usually you'll hunt at least 1 non-power card, giving it +1/+1, and that'll bring it to that magic 5 health. So that's why it's number 4 on the list. Number 3, we have Hive Stinger here. Now, it's just not efficient enough at 3 power to only remove a 2 health unit, but since it has versatile, you can slap this on a flyer, and if they don't have removal, you're going to have games where you +4 life for 4 turns in a row. So good enough interaction and has additional upside beyond that. Funny, number 2, we have another 2-drop Stonefist Nomad. So once again, it's really important to prioritize 2-drops. This one's really solid in the early game, and later in the game when you get to 8 power, this ends the game so quick. In 8/8 with Overwhelm. Good early, good late, everything you want. And lastly, we're going to break the trend here with a 3-drop in Beekeeper. This card's just so good creating 2 bodies from 1 card. There's a lot of spells or units that require you to sack units. This can sack his 1/1 self, and you can get it back from the grave with either like Through the Unknown or Recovery and generate even more value from its summon effect. So number 1 common in time is Beekeeper. Alright, number 4 for Justice is going to be Gleaming Crawler. 3-drop 2/2's obviously understated, but most of the time you'll be able to trade with the unit, create the relic weapon, and then kill an additional unit. So usually you can get a 2-for-1 with this card. Once again, it's a 3-drop. That's why it's so low on the list. You just don't need to prioritize this. Number 3 is honestly out of necessity. I really don't like this card, but Justice is lacking decent removal, and this can help your smaller units battle over your opponent's larger unit. So Moment of Heroism, mediocre combat trick. Keep in mind if your deck has a lot of large units, this goes way down in value. Number 2, Bounding Courier. This card's insane. Once again, good early, good late. It's either a 2-drop 2/2, which is going to make itself a 3/3 flyer, so super good early defense, or later in the game, give your other large unit flying, attack in, next turn attack in again, finish off your opponent that way. Similarly, Warren Tactician, once again, it's a 3-drop. However, it's just okay enough in the early game. If you get to the 8 power, if you've been on the receiving end for this, you know this card's just so oppressive, stunning 2 of your opponent's units each turn. So I'll put this as the number 1 Justice. Okay, now Primal is in a weird position. A lot of the commons are specifically really good in certain decks. So honorable mentions I'm going to give to Winter's Grasp as just really strong removal if you're consistently triggering Nightfall. And then the Darkstalker here is really strong, once again, if you're a more aggressive Nightfall deck. However, it's a 3-drop. You aren't always going to be heavy Nightfall, so you don't need to prioritize it early. So number 4, Cobalt Acolyte here. You guys know what this does. Ideally, you want to give one of your larger units flying, can make it a good defender or finish off your opponent that way. It has a 3-drop problem, so that's why it's so low on the list. Number 3, this is another one that's going to seem weird, but I've been surprised by how good Apprentice Ranger is. There's a lot of small flyers running around, so either this is a 2-cost 2/2 flyer, which is good, or it can help ramp you to a larger unit earlier. So either way, you're happy with the outcome for this. 2-drops are hard to come by. That's why it's number 3 on the list. Now, Lightning Strike, it's just generically good. And like I said, you don't know which direction your Primal decks are going to be in. So I'd rather start with a generically good Primal card in any of the Primal decks than taking some of the Nightfall cards super early. Number 1, however, is very easy. Thundershot, man, 3 damage. Keep in mind this can go to the face. It's really easy to have 3 or more units on the board, so either you're killing a giant unit for 3 power, or you're doming your opponent for 6 and ending the game. The card's just stupid. Definitely best Primal common. Okay, number 4 for Shadow, Calculated Strike. Now, there are a lot of units that generate multiple bodies, but even if you aren't super heavy in generating additional units, it's really easy to leave up 1 power. Your opponent goes to use removal on your unit, you sack it, kill one of their units, or just go 3 to face and gain 3 and swing the race in your favor. Now, number 3, and once again, Shadow has a similar thing to Primal, where some of the cards drastically differ based on your deck and previous picks. I don't mind taking a speculative Vein Parasite early. If you get multiples of this and enough 7-stat units, it's just stupid, and even if you don't, it deadly threatens a lot of the larger units. Number 2 is a 2-drop. You need 2s, and this plays offense and defense fairly well. Obviously, it's even better if you have Nightfall synergies. And then we have Removal, Extinguish as the top Shadow common. It's just efficient enough that it takes the number 1 spot, and it just has some random Nightfall synergies to boot. And just a small note for the factionless cards, Seek Power and Rift Crystal, I really like to stay open as best I can in the early picks. So if you see these, I don't mind prioritizing these around the level as the top 3 of each of the factions. There's a lot of multiple influence requirements on the cards, like Lovebirds, so they really help smooth out your draws. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick top 4 commons in each faction. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!